From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
So, Miss Vicky.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember when we were watching those WRL events and some of those Grid Life events where you used to see the in-car video and it had like the cameras seeing front and back, but it also could see all the telemetry and everything that was going on?
Mm-hmm.
You know, most of the ones that we liked were taken by the Sentinel system. Remember James came on our podcast earlier?
Right.
You know, we have no excuse since he lent us one for trial and demonstration purposes. We should actually probably put that in one of our cars. Maybe two.
I really think we should.
I think we should.
I know.
Because then we'd look like the immature endurance racing team that we are. Oh, wait, I mispronounced that, didn't I? Sorry, my bad. We could
So what does
have-
the Sentinel system do?
We could have 3 cameras with picture-in-picture. We could have, if we ever get the AIM system to work, open invitation to anybody from AIM to come on and give us a little bit of love. We need some help. And then we could have all our telemetry on there. And then we can have it streamed live into the paddock or around the world to our millions of fans. We're apparently very popular in Kenya right now. Don't know why, but that's fine. And it can integrate all the available race statistics from like Race Hero and everything. So we could actually see how we're doing on video. We wouldn't even have to carry around our phone anymore. Live.
I love it.
Dominating with Dawson.
Miss Vicky, Dominator Dawson. Where's our Dawson?
Yeah, I know. Dawson is busy these days. He's got little ones.
Does.
Little ones taking up his time.
It's okay. We miss you, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
So in the endless search for things that we can talk about that don't require the skills and expertise of one Ben Dawson, I have a certain interest. I have many interests.
Yes, you do.
And one of them is efficiency and one of them is organization. So,
Yes.
and I like tools.
Me too.
So
Yeah, you do.
I have literally studied tools and tool organization, and I am not going to start a Dominating with Dawson with which brand of tool to buy for which one, because that would just start. That would be, if you guys want to hear that, I can tell you what I
That would
tested.
end up being a cat fight.
A little bit. It's kind of like, yeah, that would just be a mess. So what I was thinking was, Miss Vicky, we can talk about various tool boxes and tool organization within the box
Yes.
that I have tested, driven you crazy with,
Ugh.
done and redone and redone and done again.
Mhm.
And perhaps you could offer the opinion as to which ones you like and some pluses and minuses that you've seen that maybe would agree with what I've said and maybe disagree. But if you want to disagree, then you'll be wrong. So that's fine.
Well, I love the idea that all of our tools have a slot, a space, a place
Well,
especially in the cabinet.
so let's go back a little bit before we get there, though. the reason we do that is so that we know when something's missing,
Yes.
because we had an initial problem with that. But I think where you and I differ is the boxes themselves and what goes in the boxes. I tend to want to bring more, and you tend to yell at me.
Yes, I do.
Oh. So we've got four different style boxes we've tried. We've got the traditional, like looking at the Flintstones, they have a little box that you carry around with a handle on it, small.
Yes.
And
And
then
and yes.
and then we've got the tool chest, which is kind of like a bunch of drawers with a top. And then we've
Usually
got
has
the
about 9 to 11 drawers in it.
depends how big it is. They can get huge.
Yep.
And then we've got the mechanics cart.
Yes.
And then we have the Milwaukee pack out in quotes. There, all the brands have them style. The red one that we use, the red
Red
tool
one.
chest, Milwaukee. We bring it to the race every time.
We started bringing a white one.
The red one that's right next to it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Bill is referring to the one where they are the stackable containers
Yeah,
where
they're
you
called pack outs. Is
right, the
the
pack
brand
outs,
name?
yeah.
Okay, so which ones of those pluses and minuses do you like and not like?
Well, all right. Let's start off with the garage. I have a large Matco cabinet and it has probably about 11 to 13 drawers in it, I believe. Um that is definitely one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it has pretty much everything that I need in it. I rarely have to go anywhere for anything that's not in there. I still have to run around sometimes and go find some stuff.
You need to tell me
Um,
what that is because that's supposed to be self sufficient.
right. And I think what I like about it is that it has electrical outlets that are all around it, which is nice. Um, Electrical outlets that are in it. A drawer is actually we use it as a charging drawer for mostly the Matco stuff itself. Uh,
You could use it for
we have
phones and whatever. We just do it a different way.
right. We actually have a charging tower that is used as a shelf unit in our garage, and everything that's electronic goes there. All the wiring, all the LED lamps that we
Lights.
use
Yeah.
inside the car are on that. But I do like the other one, quite a bit. Bill has it set up to where every socket has a place, every tool pretty much has a place and it's labeled.
Right.
Um,
So
right,
so we used to bring that style to the track, but your
right.
big issue was
There was a lot of stuff that was in there that we just didn't use, and to me, and it's the thing that we bicker back and forth about is that everything that is extra weight in the trailer and it throws the balances off. And the way that our trailer is set up is that all the weight usually hovers at the front because we're still learning about having the trailer well balanced. And there was just for the cars that we were taking, we rarely used, if ever used, the US standard. And we just had all the US standard sockets, US standard wrenches, and we just never used them. And to me, that was a substantial amount of weight for a cabinet that we had to roll back in and out. And plus, we had multiple tools. Now, granted, this was a very, very early on um, cabinet that we used, and we were just like, well, we don't know what we don't know. We're in the just in case phase. And
we also had two American cars.
right. And the thing is, too, is that the reality is that there are just a lot of sockets that you're just not going to use. And I think that especially like the Honda, I think the Honda might have a total of 5 sockets that it will use, that can do a majority of the work on that car.
We're trying to talk about cabinets, and you've
Okay, but I'm just saying is that when it comes to weight, and that, well, you asked me what the problem was. And the problem was with that cabinet is that it was too heavy. We were carrying way too many things that we needed. So we did not use that one in the car trailer. We needed to simplify.
and when we first went to our first event, we carried a little handle toolbox.
Right.
Okay,
And it did pretty well.
it's
And
okay.
actually, the handle toolbox for me is really handy in instances. Sometimes we work on more than one car, and sometimes we work on more than one car. And the nice thing was is that if there's a car that is on the lift, it's great. Everything that you need is right there. But when you're crawling around on the floor that is under a car and it's on jacks or one of those quick jack systems, if you don't have the tool that you need, you have to constantly get up and out of the car, eh, from underneath the car to grab whatever you need, and especially if you're like a new mechanic. So what we had done with the very, very small um
They're like
toolbox,
blow molded sets with like
right,
a couple hundred
is
pieces.
that what we would do is that we put it on a furniture dolly, a little square furniture dolly. It was probably about uh 18, 24 inches by probably about 18 inches. And the box sat on that. And I just wheeled that box all the way around the car. So whatever I needed, it was there. And that way, the only time I ever had to really get out from underneath the car is when I need something more special and not just trying to figure out or carry like every tool that was in my toolbox underneath there. So I didn't have to keep crawling out from underneath the car if I was working on it. So that's what I used the boxes for, the little chests.
Okay, and
Yep.
then go ahead.
Go ahead.
And then we tried it's called a mechanic cart. It's smaller, less drawers, open on the
Yes.
bottom.
Yes.
What do you think of those?
I enjoyed that one a lot because we got to the point when and Bill again, he made a lot of detail inside these carts. So we
We're
knew
gonna
when
get there
tools,
next.
the cart that was inside or the mechanics cart were really great. We end up maturing to the point when we understood what our cars actually needed. So that became much more manageable inside the car trailer. And that's when we started using the Milwaukee stackable boxes for those specialty items that we might need, but we rarely went into and got.
Or just the way I'm going to redo it, but the way we're using it in Milwaukee right now is it's kind of the luggage cart,
Yeah.
of the we might need this, so let's have it, and it's kind of like a dolly on the bottom, like a hand truck,
Yeah.
and
It's
we can
not a
just wheel it
main
where we want
unit.
to go. No,
No,
complimentary.
because and honestly, I would never use them as a main unit. They are a pain in the butt to get in and out of. Um, they're awkward to use for at least for me. Is they're awkward, they're uncomfortable to use, but they're okay if you need to get something that is a rarely used item.
Mhm. And they have come out since we started. They have come out with ones that have drawers. The ones that we have all have access on the top. So when you stack
Yeah,
them, it's a pain,
it is a
but
pain.
it's okay. But I think the thing we can do that well, we, me, has been obsessed about and probably overdone it. I know. Put the surprised look away. I know. I overdid something.
Bill's a processes man.
I know.
That's what he does for work.
It's what
And
I do.
right.
So there's many ways that we've seen and tested to organize your drawer. There is what I refer to as the kitchen drawer technique or the gravity technique, which is pull drawer out, fill until full, close drawer, It's in there. Now,
Sometimes it closes. You might have to rattle it a little bit. You might have to kick it
jiggle.
once.
Might have to jiggle. Now this technique works. For instance, Bruce's magic trailer has several drawers that have the gravity technique. And the magic trailer, as everyone knows, has everything you could ever want. And Bruce knows exactly where it is. However, it drives me batty. Can't deal with it. So if you're slightly
On the spectrum?
whatever, I prefer to think of it as efficient. One of the things that we ran into at our first race and our second race was we went there with a little bit of tools and we came back with a little bit less of the little bit of tools and we were
Yes.
losing things like crazy. So I want to know what's there and I want to know that everything's there. So before we close it and pack it away, I want to know that we have everything. So there's several different ways that we've done this. One, just for sockets themselves, we have used rails. We have plastic rails, we have metal rails, and we have magnetic rails.
Right. And what are rails?
Rails are a strip. It's usually about 12 to 15 inches, and it's got little rectangular square nubs for the different size, quarter, 3/8, and a half inch socket. And you stack the sockets in them, and now you have a rail of sockets, and it'll keep all them in a nice orderly fashion. And Vicky likes to take them out of the toolboxes and have all the sizes she needs, which is fine.
That is handy.
Right. Do you care about plastic or metal or magnetic?
No.
Okay. The correct
Actually, the magnetics are good for being in that mechanic drawer. But no, at least if they're magnetic, they stay put. So that's
right.
nice.
The correct answer, and they're not magnetic to hold the socket in the socket holder.
No.
They're magnetic to hold the socket rail to a drawer or a car.
Yes, and that's very handy.
One of the things that you have to think about, and we probably should have gone over this earlier, when you're thinking about storage, is your storage going to stay mostly still, or is it going to go with you in a trailer back and forth to the track? Because those are very different things.
Right.
For instance, we had a couple different ways that work quite well if your storage is mostly still, but when they went back and forth to the track, everything would move or everything would fall over or everything would fall out, and then you'd spend 20 minutes at the track putting them back together the way they should be, and then only to mess them up on the way home again. So those drive me batty. But I think the socket rails, it's worth a little extra to get the magnetic ones. I think it's worth a little extra to get the color coded ones, so you know if you are carrying standard and metric, you know which one it is. I think that would be better. The metal ones versus the plastic ones, it's not really that big a deal to me. I know the metal ones will last a little longer, but they are heavier. The plastic ones seem to be fine, though. That's okay. The other thing that we've done is we've experimented with Kaizen foam, which is a fancy way of saying colored styrofoam sheets that you can either purchase or buy made with the holes or cut your own holes out. I'd highly recommend when you have an artsy, beautiful bride that you get her to do it for you because they look a whole lot better that way. What do you think of the Kaizen foam?
The Kaizen foam I like the Kaizen foam. I do. It's more labor intensive to get what you want. You can be very, very specific and you can use every bit of room that you need. You can be more creative with it, but I like it.
Okay. The downside that I see with Kaizen foam is if you want to change things or your tool repertoire or what you want within that drawer wants to change significantly, sometimes it's difficult to change it. It's kind of, it is what it is, and that's the way it's going to stay. Works pretty well, works great for travel, especially if you make it nice and snug. Good ways to do it. What about tool grid? Do you remember the tool grid stuff? We use it in the usually in the upper drawers with the sockets.
Yeah.
Okay.
The tool grid is nice. It's a little tricky for me because trying to figure out, I know you labeled them for what goes in there, but sometimes for me, I don't know the technical terms of certain tools. So trying to,
or you're not wearing your glasses.
No, I'm trying to finagle and put them back in there is a little tricky for me. But again, everything has a home. So when something is missing, it it is something to be on the lookout when we do our, our, I refer to them as 10-minute tidies. When things get a little crazy, it's time to do a gather and collect everything and put it back in the cabinet and start again.
So tool grid is basically a plastic pegboard, and in each one of
Hmm.
the holes you put different style tool holders. Some of them hold
Yep.
handles, some of them hold sockets. Typically, the standard sockets are a red pin type,
Hmm.
and the metric are blue. And there's a little space for a label, and you can have everything organized in such a way. Um, the only problem with the tool grid, well, there's two problems with the tool grid. One, tool grid's a little expensive, and two, it is not good if you're moving around. If you're taking the tools back and forth to the track, they tend to fall because there's nothing holding them besides vertical gravity, and it's only 3/8 of an inch or less,
Hmm.
and they fall out. So that drove me batty. But if you're
Right.
just working in a garage area, fantastic. We have a set downstairs in the basement soon that I just haven't put there yet. Tool grid's great. It also comes with lots of ways to deal with um, uh, handled devices, which is quite
Hmm.
nice. And it's customizable because you basically have all this grid, and you can put things anywhere you want. Uh, what we also found, we talked with a friend who works at it's a IMSA level team, because I was complaining that the tool grid fell, and we found these new magnetic pockets by Olsa. And what they are is it's a magnet on the bottom and then a chunk of plastic, and it's labeled for every socket. And there's some depth to it. And the socket sits down in there. It's a little bit magnetic for the socket and a little bit magnetic for the drawer, but it's enough height and enough magnetic that the sockets don't fall over.
Is
And
that what
that's
we have in
that's
the
that's the
mapping out
winner.
right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
Y-
winner in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that does work really, really well. Um, it fits everything. And again, they're kind of triangular, so they kind of lay almost like a zigzag when you
Like
start.
uh
Yeah, from
like
small to large.
like a
So
steps, or what's a bleacher kind of thing. They
right.
kind of look like a bleacher.
Yeah, she has them set up like a bleacher, and they kind of almost have like a, instead of forming like boxes that kind of go up like stairs, they're kind of zigzaggy a little bit because they go from small to large. So, the way he has them laid out is pretty clever.
They'll
So,
be
I mean, it
pictures.
works really well. It holds things. One of the other things that we had a problem with one of the cabinets, and I think you might have just mentioned this, is that because we had the pegs and because we were traveling, sometimes we would end up at the track and like all of the sockets were just all over the drawer. Everything had fallen out of whatever stands we had them on, whatever units we were using. It was just a hot mess. We tried putting foam in the top of it originally, um,
Try to
but that
blanket.
yeah, it kind of created its own issue because, trying to get it in there and trying to get the drawer shut, sometimes it fit, sometimes it didn't fit properly. We just kind of abandoned that whole series, and that whole drawer system ended up in a backup garage that we have
Hmm.
um, for that spot. So, it kind of works. Which again, that one of those drawers will probably end up at the house,
Yep.
one of those
That's
cabinets.
as soon as I get a second set of hands, it's going in, coming to the
Mm.
house.
Yep. I
So
would say just roll it right into the garage. That's where it should be,
we're
or the
downstairs,
basement.
either one.
Oh,
Okay. Whatever you want.
yep.
So that's kind of the extent of the testing we've done. I will be sure to put some pictures when I post this episode, and you guys can
Well,
see
yeah,
some of our
but
fun stuff.
we did forget one thing.
I forgot nothing.
Oh no, that was only with the tools that we have for the little stuff, but we also have equipment that we use. So when
Oh,
we have a shelving unit that's set up in our garage. So when those nice boxes of, say, a compression kit or a bleeder kit or a
all those things that come in blow molded plastic suitcases.
Yeah. So what we end up taking, we just get those and we take a silver Sharpie and we kind of write on them very much like books. And we stack them all up on the shelves. So you can just read them from the top and the side, or the front, however you decide to grab it. And we just don't have random boxes that are laying around. Everything is detail labeled.
You haven't seen my new setup. So
Yeah, I know. I've been hearing that there's work down there.
nothing going on. Nothing for you to see. These aren't the droids you're looking for. So we've got some of the solutions set up for storage. Love to know if you guys have something else that would be better. Better is always better. But what we've got works for us right now. So we have a solution for in the garage, and we have a solution for traveling to and back to the track. I think we're pretty close to done, but I keep looking. So you never know
Yeah.
where we'll end up.
We don't need any more tools.
But we have so much more room now.
I know, but we don't need tools.
So much more.
We're good. We don't need any more cabinets. We're good.
We're good. We're good until we have another guest on who tells me something else I need to do. And,
Nope. Then you need to start selling stuff.
wow. Anyway, that wasn't how I wanted this podcast to end. But anyway, this is what happens when you don't have Dawson.
Yeah.
Come back, save my tools. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's what we've learned for our organization. Sometimes, the hangar does get a little crazy, but it's an ever growing process that we're doing to try to simplify what we have.
Yep. And again, if you guys have something else that you think is cool, let us know. We'll share. We're okay with that.
Yep.
Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you.